How's it going guys, Michael here. In this video we'll be recreating the main synth sound in Resonance by Home. This sound is just luscious vintage goodness and I'm so excited to share it with you. Let's get into it.
For this sound we'll be using the default oscillator A. Simply increase the unison to 2 and bring the detune down to around 0.08. Now on the filter, include the noise oscillator and change the filter type to MG low 24 and set the resonance to 11%. Next, turn on the noise oscillator and select analog and J106. Set the level to -30. Now let's set up our envelope. Increase the decay time to around 1.4 seconds, the sustain to 0 and the release to 270 milliseconds. Now drag envelope 2 onto the cutoff knob and set the modulation amount to 39. Now increase the attack to 76 milliseconds, increase the decay to 340 milliseconds, the sustain to 0, and the release to 290 milliseconds. Now let's move over to the effects tab. Start by turning on the chorus, set the rate to 0.03, delay 1 to 0, depth to 15 milliseconds, feed to 0, low pass filter to 100% and the mix knob to 100%. Now turn on the delay and drag it above the chorus. Set the feedback to 50% and select 16th notes for both the left and the right. Create an EQ to filter out some of the highs and the lows. Change the mode to ping pong and set the mix knob to 32%. Next, turn on the compressor and set the threshold to -30 decibels, the attack to around 100 milliseconds, and the release to 3 milliseconds. This will make sure that our sound is always upfront and present. Now turn on the reverb, increase the size to 50%, decay to 5 seconds, low cut to 22%, high cut to 33%, spin to 50%, spin depth to 30%, and the mix knob to 21%. Lastly, turn on the EQ, select the bell-shaped filter on the left and a high shelf filter on the right. Starting on the left, set the frequency to 100 Hz, Q to 50%, and gain to +6.7 decibels. Now on the right, set the frequency to 1900 Hz, Q to 0, and gain to +15 decibels. Next, to create a Flutter and Wow effect, jump back to the oscillator tab and drag LFO 1 onto the fine pitch control under oscillator A, and set the modulation amount to 10. Then turn off BPM and anchor mode and set a slow rate of around 0.4 Hz. This will be our wow component. Now drag LFO 2 onto the same fine pitch control and set its modulation to around 8. Once again, turn off BPM and anchor, and this time give the LFO a faster rate of around 4 Hz. This will make up the flutter component. Now, in order to match the original song's insane automation, we will need to use macro knob 1. Start by dragging macro 1 onto the cutoff knob and set the modulation to +9. Now drag macro 1 onto envelope 1's release control and set the modulation amount to 23. Now drag macro 1 onto envelope 2's decay and release knobs, setting the modulation amount to 21 and 14 respectively. Now back under the effects tab, drag macro 1 onto the delay mix knob and set the modulation amount to 16. Drag it onto the chorus depth knob and set it to 13. Drag it onto the reverb decay knob and set it to 25. And finally the reverb mix knob and set the modulation amount to 25. And we're done. Now all you would need to do is automate the macro knob using your DAW, and you're guaranteed to have a sound that is full of life.
As always, you can find a link to the preset in the description below, and if you enjoyed watching, please consider liking and subscribing to support the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!